Okay, DK. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. There's someone here who's trying to throw me off when we started, but it's a very exciting day because South Africa are taking on, guess who, DK? Go for it.
Australia.
Australia and South Africa take on each other. Repeat of the World Cup semi-final. Two heavyweights taking on each other. Group A has been signed and sealed almost. Lots of action in Group B left. And when there's lots of action, we get the most exciting people on. Someone from all the way, far away in England with an India mug in his hand, Michael Vaughan. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you back, Michael.
There you go. There's my mug. Sorry, I can't be in the studio. I've had a little knee operation, so I've had to stay in the UK. But it's great to be on the show. A great game to look forward to. Unfortunately, my team didn't go off to a flying start the other day, but they'll come back tomorrow against Afghanistan, I'm pretty sure.
You know, Michael, I wanted to ask you if you've recovered not only from your knee surgery, but from that loss as well.
Well, you don't see 350 odd get chased down in such a convincing fashion too often. I mean, I know we're in a different era where big scores and the strike rates are a lot higher than certainly when I played the game. But to chase down that total with 2.3 overs remaining, a brilliant innings by Josh Inglis. England didn't play too bad. They didn't quite get it right towards the back end. I think the dew played a bit of a factor. The drop catch from Jofra Archer was a big play in the game, but England aren't quite playing the white ball cricket that we saw a few years ago. But full credit to particularly Josh Inglis. In the space of just a few weeks, he got a Test match century in Sri Lanka. He's had a T20 century already for Australia. Now he's got a 50-over century against the country of his birth. He's a Yorkshire lad. You do know that he was produced in Yorkshire. So we take full credit for everything that Josh Inglis is doing on the cricket field.
Well, Michael, today we have DK who's in the mood for all the fun and mischief on the show because he's sitting here all alone. So he wants to make up for all the fun and mischief. DK, good to have you back, but all alone there.
Yeah, just feeling a bit lonely. Generally, Michael's there having his wisecracks. Michael, I have a suggestion for you. I think you need to put up a picture of you with the mug to your Twitter fans to say who you feel is going to win this Champions Trophy. I think it's very evident from what we are seeing right here. Exactly. You don't need to go that far.
There you go. That's from the get-go. And I said on social media the other day, DK, I reckon there's 10 and there's probably more that you can name of India's quality depth in their squad that aren't in the 11 at the minute that would get into every other team's 11 in this tournament. India have got so much depth in white ball cricket, and I fear actually for the rest of the world for the next couple of years in particular that it's going to be very difficult to get a trophy or two off the Indian side. It can happen. We saw it in the World Cup final in Ahmedabad, but whoever beats India in this tournament will lift the trophy.
And is it fair to say that probably Josh Inglis is the only Yorkshireman feeling good right now?
Well, we always feel good, DK. The Yorkshire people are always happy and vibrant, but I can't believe he slipped through the net. Usually we're very good at grabbing other countries' players to our country to play for us, but to think we've let one slip through our own net is we'll have to have a word with our academy system up in the Yorkshire Dales because for England, and actually his father Martin, he played at my cricket club in Sheffield, Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Club, so I know the English family quite well, but I've no idea how we allowed him to slip through our net.
You know, I'll believe you when you say the Yorkshiremen are always happy and smiling because I saw Jeffrey Boycott a few weeks ago in Pearl Valley in Pal, and he was smiling and playing golf. He was having fun there. The weather is very different to where you are right now. You don't need a jumper there.
Yeah, I've got my woolly kind of cashmere hoodie on here in the UK and I'm indoors. Jeffrey Boycott, he's got a house, hasn't he, at Pearl Valley, the golf resort down in near the Cape. Spends his winters down there. No doubt he'll have given you plenty of advice, DK, on everything in life. He's always got an abundance of advice for anyone in any kind of shape or form in terms of any sporting kind of advice, life advice, humorous advice. Jeffrey's always got advice for everybody.
Well, Michael, what's your advice for England though? Because Group A seems to be signed and sealed, but England will need a whole lot of advice from you. And of course, the big blow, Pakistan out of the Champions Trophy almost because of the net run rate. If there's some magical turnaround, but what is your advice going to be for England in the other group, and of course Pakistan?
Pakistan, they're in a strong grip. I mean, New Zealand and India are playing tremendous cricket, so I always felt it was going to be difficult for them to get out of that group. I mean, you're looking at. I think Australia just know how to win tournaments. They know how to win big games. So you always look at Australia and think, even though they're missing, Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, they're missing so many players. You know that they're going to be competitive. The England side just haven't played good white ball cricket now for a couple of years. And to think that you can suddenly arrive at a tournament and produce a kind of a display and a product that can go on and lift the trophy from where they've been in recent times is very, very difficult. You look at Jamie Smith, first time that he'd batted at number 3, even though he's a quality player, that was the first time he'd batted at number 3. They're really lacking that 5th and 6th bowling option. They have no left arm options in either seam or spin. They don't have anyone to back up Adil Rashid. They've gone all out pace, as we saw in the Indian T20 and one day series, which seems to be a very much a Baz McCullum method of wanting lots of pace. I'm not too sure that's the right play on the wickets that they're playing on, but they're just not playing good enough cricket to really compete. They've still got a chance of sneaking through. They obviously win the last 2 games, but on the recent form for England to win 2 games on the trot, they'll have to produce a lot better in terms of consistency to what we've seen in recent times. But the main teams, once again, Australia, India, New Zealand, they're always there or thereabouts. As soon as there's an ICC trophy event, they seem to produce real quality displays. And maybe it's their time. And you look at South Africa, who we'll see today against Australia, they look like they've got so much depth and so much talent that surely one day they'll lift a trophy as well. They got to the final of the T20 World Cup. Could have quite easily won that game in Barbados. Didn't quite have enough to beat the Indian side, but it's the same kind of teams that we talked about in the T20 World Cup, the 50 over World Cup, just a couple of years ago back in India. It's the same kind of team, same kind of conditions, but I have to say I just can't see anybody beating India in Dubai.
But DK, just a reaction on Pakistan and them getting blown out of the Champions Trophy, host nations, all the hype, 29 years later. What's the quick fix for Pakistan and the problems that they're going through?
This word that you use is very interesting. There is nothing quick that's going to happen in Pakistan because whenever they've tried for a quick fix, it's always gone downhill. They actually need to step back, look at what they need to do in a year's time for the T20 World Cup and start prepping and backing their players. Not only players, backing their support staff, backing their selectors. All 3 need to work in tandem as a proper ecosystem. That's when they will have a vision and then they can break it down to smaller goals as they keep moving forward towards the World Cup. That would be my solution.
Michael, lots of building, like DK is saying, it's going to be a slow process for them.
I mean, it's chaos, isn't it, in Pakistan on a regular basis, and DK is absolutely right. I mean, they can't just keep ripping it up and going, oh, we need another coach and we need another backroom staff, we need another captain, need to bring 2 or 3 more new players in or bring old players back from the past to try and give them a bit of experience. It's not going to happen overnight. Nothing is built in a day or a week or a month. You've got to take a lot of time. You've got to have a real strong thought process in the kind of players that you want to take forward, the kind of cricket that you want to play. Look at the squad that they have and try and work out the best method of being competitive and accept that it's not suddenly going to turn rosy in the space of a week or a month. I've just read on social media that the reports are that the backroom team will all get the sack after this Champions Trophy. The coach will probably go as well. That is not the answer. The answer is to stay consistent with this group. Just give them a couple of years. Give them till the T20 World Cup and just try and find out. I mean, I look at people like Jason Gillespie, he's a top pro. Gary Kirsten, a really quality coach and a great individual. For those 2 people to go into Pakistan cricket Gary Kirsten removed himself quite quickly and Jason Gillespie pretty much did the same quite soon after. There's problems there, and there's been problems for a while, and they have to try and stay consistent, be loyal to these these people that they've put in place, Aki Javid, who's only just really got the job, just give him a while, give him a year or so, just try and develop a team, trying to develop a culture. DK, I'll tell you, to win any franchise league, international test match, series, trophy, you have to have a culture in place which is developed over a period of time. And once you get that culture right, you can start thinking about winning trophies. Until you get the culture right and you develop that over a period of time, it's near on impossible to win trophies.
Well, like I said, Group A has been signed and sealed, but Group B has a lot of action. But unfortunately, that action is a little delayed today because the toss is delayed. It's been drizzling. The covers are on in Rawalpindi. So the action will have to wait. DK, South Africa versus Australia, though. A big game. I'm just a little confused coming into this game. Which one's more confident? Because Australia, of course, that historic win against England, and South Africa just breezed past Afghanistan.
Both teams will be very confident with their batting. It's their bowling that is vulnerable. So in this game, I know it's raining right now, the team winning the toss has a distinct advantage purely because they get to bowl in slightly better conditions. In the evening, it gets too hard to bowl in because there is a decent amount of dew. Yesterday, they played at Rawalpindi. You could see that. Bangladesh, when they batted, it wasn't that easy. But when New Zealand was batting, for the first 10 to 12 overs, it's okay when the ball is nice and new. But soon after, it just comes on so nicely to the bat that almost defending any score was difficult. And England will actually accept, yes, they played decent cricket. They batted nicely. But I think it's the dew that got them more than anything else. To bowl with a slightly dewy ball is a skill in itself. It's not easy. You almost can't look for wickets. You need to find out what's your best defensive ball. And for all of that, you need experience. And that is lacking in both South Africa and Australia. The bowling lineups are vulnerable at this point.
But you speak about experience and the vulnerable bowling lineups. But when you talk about Australia, it's just something about Australia who comes into these big tournaments and does it all the time. But through my childhood, they've scarred Indian fans for very, very long. But I feel there's this one team that doesn't wilt against the pressure against Australia, and that's been South Africa since 2016. Staggering numbers there, Michael. It's 16-5. That's the head-to-head if you see since 2016. What is this secret sauce that South Africa has?
I think that they'd probably give you a couple of those victories to beat them in a semi-final of a 50-over World Cup in India. So you're looking at the major games and when it really matters. Is today one of those? Possibly not, because I think Australia can lose today and still go through. South Africa are a tremendous cricket team. It's just when it comes to that critical moment, a semi-final, a final, have they got the mentality and that kind of know-how how to win the big moments? And that's been their downfall for a long time in white ball cricket. They've always had the players, they've always had the skill, but they've just lacked that mentality. And that's probably the difference of the two nations. I think in terms of skill factors, they're both very, very similar. In terms of mentality factor of knowing how to win the big moments and lift the trophies, Australia just seems to have it in abundance. Better than most teams in the world. They've just got that know-how of knowing how to win a game of cricket when they really have to. I think South Africa are very, very close. I think they're as close as they ever have been to winning a trophy. That T20 effort in Barbados was excellent. I never felt in the final against India that they were, dare I say it, choking. That's the word that's used against South Africa a lot. They didn't on that occasion. They played a good game. India just managed to win just one or two little moments better. But South Africa put in a decent performance, and I think they're getting better and better. And maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the Champions Trophy that is there for them to get their hands on the trophy. But I just think they've got that kind of talent pool. I think the bowling attack, DK, you mentioned that they're probably both lacking in terms of their bowling, in terms of if it's their main strength compared to their batting, it's not. But I still think with South Africa, you look at Rabada, Nagidi, Mulder, Maharaj, very skillful. I think they've got enough in the bowling that can really be competitive in this tournament. And with the batting, they've got so much power. And when you've got Heinrich Klaasen, which I would think he'll be back in the side today, and you've got Rickleton at the top of the order, who's a fine young player across all the formats. They've got enough skill to lift a trophy, and maybe it's their time.
But DK, you speak about South Africa and that mentality, but when you see that head-to-head, they will go in with that confidence that saying that they've got the better of Australia. Of course, like Michael's saying, the big day is what they need to convert. But the team overall, Bavuma has spoken about it as well. He said that, we want to focus on the positivity. We don't really want to look back at the word choke that's used so much against them. We don't want to get into that. He's saying that we know what we have and we want to look at the positive side of things.
This T20 World Cup was a game changer for them. Not because of the fact that they reached the finals. The number of close games that they played and they found themselves just tipping over the line at the end tells you that the mindset is shifting. Mainly, a main cause for that is because SA20 has come along. They're playing some high-octane cricket and a lot of guys are playing important matches under pressure in that tournament. That was something that they didn't have. Now the world is watching SA20. You have games which could be knockout games, which could be do-or-die games in the league stage. And obviously you have the playoffs. So that is slowly but steadily getting them into that culture. And that's what India has learnt as well, having a tournament like IPL where people play big games. There's as much pressure playing the IPL at times like playing for the country. Yes, it varies a bit, but you almost know what it feels like and they're getting used to that pressure. They're not thinking differently or doing things differently in international cricket. They feel slightly more at home and that has been a big factor for them. I think personally, up until they go on to win that major title, they will always have that tag just hanging around. It is a slightly diluted tag today as we sit here, but it still belongs to them because a lot of times in the recent past, they have found it hard. Up until the 2022 T20 World Cup. Yes. It's only in the 23 World Cup they came to the semis. The 24 T20 World Cup, they've come to the finals. And again, just like Michael said, this tournament, they've started nicely. And they do look like a strong team, which when they get their act together, can be as good as any in this tournament. And it is nice to see a leader who is embodying that and making sure the team is progressing. If you look at their rugby squad as well, one of their biggest superstars, Sia Kolisi, and you can see how he is revered in that part of the world. And I'm sure all of those things has an impact on the way they are playing it as well right now.
You spoke about the captain and how he's made things a little different. I want to go straight to the captain, Michael. Bavuma is someone who's just such a likable person. I don't know what it is about him. He's just someone who almost commands respect. He doesn't demand respect. And if you have a look at the numbers that Bavuma has got, especially in those tests, he's won 8 out of those 9. One was a draw. What do you think's been tougher, going unbeaten 8 times or winning the Ashes, Michael?
I mean, he's got a tremendous record. I would say winning the Ashes series is quite tricky, depending on which Australia side you come across. But I like Bavuma. I think he's. You mentioned the word there, light, and I don't think there's enough made of captains do need to be light. Yes, you have to be ruthless. You have to, be very strategic. You've got to be very aware of the game. You've got to be a good man manager, but it really does help if you're liked because the players will fight for you and they'll want you to do desperately well.
It's made a mistake as well, just when he was talking about the mistakes that captains make. Sorry, you're back again, Mike.
I thought the internet didn't like you there for a second.
Oh, sorry, that's probably the case, DK. My internet at home says, shut up, I'm boring. No, I think it's very important that, captaincy, it comes in... You need many skills to be a really good captain, but I don't think being liked is talked about enough. If you're liked in the dressing room, respected is a word that's used. I think respect is obviously something that you desperately need from your group. But if you're also really liked by your team, the team really want you to win and they'll do anything they can to get over that. And even when you do make the mistakes, and as I said before, you're going to make lots of mistakes as a captain, players won't be pointing the finger at you because they generally like you. And I think he's not only obviously a light captain, he's a good player. I mean, if you look at his record in one-day cricket, he's averaging 43, striking at near on 90. So his numbers are really, really good. And you can't be a light captain and not produce magic as well with your own performance. You've still got to perform yourself, and he's managed to do that. So, yeah, I hope. I mean, I want England to win the trophy. Obviously, I'm an ex-England player, but if there was a country that I'd like to see lift a trophy, it would be South Africa because I think they've done a lot right over the last few years. And they're obviously in the World Test Match Championship final. You look at those 8 victories. How many of those victories have come against the top teams? That's been a great debate over the last few months.
Let's not get there, Michael. Cut them some slack. They've got there. They've got there somehow. Yes. But it's right. What Michael is saying has been a debating point.
They've worked it. They've got to the finals, so they'll be going to Lords to try and lift that trophy. So that's another trophy that they can lift in 2025. And I generally feel in the next week or so, they've got enough strength and enough depth and enough skill factors to lift this Champions Trophy as well.
You know, DK, like you're saying, Bavuma is someone who's been a liked captain. You think he's just gone under the radar a little bit because seems to be the more low-profile, quieter person. And then, of course, in 23, after the World Cup, there were just these rumors in the media, rumors about him not kind of, he shouldn't be in the team, he shouldn't be a captain. And then, of course, he's come back so strongly.
He's been a very interesting personality in South Africa. I think South Africa, because of that, that race and colour card that sometimes plays a part in their squad, he was force-fitted into the T20 squad. I don't think he's a T20 player. He's definitely a quality test player and he fits into this ODI setup nicely as well. And I think him coming to terms with the fact that I'm going to be really good at these two, it's okay if I don't play T20. In fact, doesn't even play the SA20, tells you that he is at peace with himself. That is very important. So important. With that, you can command respect because you have earned the right to be a part of that 11. I think that was the issue that they had when they were trying to force fit him into things which was probably not his strength. Today, he can proudly say he's led the test team to a World Test Championship final. He is today leading this one-day team and leading them nicely too. And if you ask him, this last 1.5 years has been very good to him as a leader, as a person. He's become a father recently. So all of that will help him and his personality as well. Very highly respected, but most importantly, warrants a place in the squad by merit. That always is a good starting point. And that has been Bavuma's story so far. Even during the 2021 World Cup, when South Africa played in Dubai, there was this sensitive moment when everybody took the knee for Black Lives Matter, but Quinton de Kock didn't, or at least was perceived to have not done it. But the way he handled that situation post-match tells you a lot about the man. At no point did he ever give into the pressures of probably putting Quinton de Kock down, being a black man himself, but the way he handled it was very, very respectful and very nice as well. And that shows you leadership qualities, which he seems to have. And that's why the team is doing nicely under him. And looks like Aiden Markram as a T20 skipper is doing the same thing in the T20 setup. So things have settled down nicely. Rob Walter is their coach. I think he's kind of fragmented both teams and said, this is my one-day team, this is my T20 team. And it is nice to see them getting success. And like Michael says, it is a team which deserves to win because we as fans for a long time have been yearning to see a victory for South Africa. They won the Commonwealth Games many, many moons ago, but this is a good victory to have. It's a long way off, but they've started nicely.
Well, it's a long way off because the leaders are still not out on the field because it is still drizzling and the covers are still on. So we will come back soon. And before we wrap, we will have a look at Mr. Bhattacharya's question. So we have enough time and more to answer that today. Michael, are you ready for it? I know you've had a little bit of a break from it, but here goes. 4 of the 5 cricketers who accomplished this feat are Brett Williams, Gerard Bourke, Stephen Peters and Manjot Kalra. Who is the 5th?
DK, have you got any clue?
No, I was feeling nice and warm in the studio. Unlike you, I think it's very cold where you are. I saw that question and kind of stiffened up. I'm like, I don't even know a few names there. Brett Williams and Manjot Kalra, I know. It's probably got to do something with the Under-19 World Cup, I feel, because Manjot Kalra has played for Under-19 India. Something, that's about as far as I can go. I have a feeling Michael Vaughan has not reached that step yet. Is that right, Michael? Brett Williams, the fast bowler from Australia.
You're one step ahead of me.
Well, Michael, this is not the easiest one to warm up with, so we'll not trouble you too much because it's a tough one on your first day after a break that you've had. But we will be going into a break right now because, of course, it's still raining and we will be coming back after the toss. So, Michael, we'll go have some lunch and we'll miss you over lunch, but DK and I am going to quickly go do that. We will see you all very soon right after the toss. Thank you so much for watching Cricbuzz Live.